Mark Twain once said, "By land, they are not making it anymore." Real estate is one of the oldest industries in the world. It's not considering that we have been taught that a house is the best investment you can ever make. Of course, in the 21st century, we have far more investing tools than generation before us had. Um, Derivatives, options, bonds, and no longer the instruments that only are the rich have access to. With a small invest in apps on your $200 smartphone, you can start trading stocks. And besides, the best performing investments are not even coming from the rich but from the bottom, such as the cryptocurrencies that are the challenging the status quo. Regardless of all these investments, real estate still remains the king of investments. Because unlike anything else, it's simple, you can touch it, and it's easy to understand. You don't have to look far for some evidence. One world's richest man, Bill Gates, is also pouring millions into the real estate. Bill Gates now is American biggest owner of the farmland. He purchased 242,000 acres of the farmland across the U.S., enough to make him the top private farmer owner in America. But regardless of how great this market is, it still goes through ups and downs. And if you end up buying a house when the market is at its peak, you are going to lose because sooner or later the value of your house will crash. And there is the huge difference between buying a house and investing in the real estates. They might look as if they are the same thing, but your needs usually are not aligned with that. It's better from investing points of view. So, as the real estate investors, I want to share with you why millennials should not buy a house, or at least if you are buying a house, you have to consider all these factors that I am about to share with you. So, give this video a thumbs up and let's jump right into it. Bidding is a bad thing. A house with an asking price of the $3.5 million was sold for $4.5 million because the seller received 7 offers and its price bid keep rising on the point where the house was sold for extra $1 million. If you are the seller, that's good sign. If you are the buyer, when it might be wondering where is it worth paying an extra $1 million or not. And this is not a single case. It's happening all across the market, even when it comes to houses that cost just a few $100,000. People are overpaying by the 30, 40, or even 50% just to be the one who is going to buy that house. And that's normal in the market when there is the shortage of houses. This graph explains it all. Show it for the year 2000. It illustrated the number of the monthly supply of the houses in the United States. Starting from the 2010, when we got out of the last housing crash, the supply of the houses was at the stable rate. So houses prices grew steadily, but there is a clear sign of the number of houses in the market to drop significantly in April 2020. And even though we are almost out of this pandemic and the future seems a little more predictable that it was a year ago, the number of the houses didn't increase much in the market, and that's probably because the sellers are looking at how fast home prices are rising and are like, why should I sell when I can wait and keep getting wealthier doing nothing unless I will get an offer that's really good. I am not selling. That's why in the single year home prices rose by 17%. In a single year, home prices rose as much as they did in the last 10 years. That's a good reason not to sell. In psychologically difficult to convince yourself to sell when everything is rising. It really doesn't matter if it is stocks, Bitcoin, or crypto. When it's rising for some reasons, you imagine it's going to rise forever, and if it's falling, you imagine it's going to fall forever. That's why people often quickly sell to minimize losses. Most people are short-term thinkers and not long-term thinkers. In this kind of the times, I like to remember what Warren Buffett said once: "Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful." Now is the time when everyone is greedy. I'm not saying there is going to be the crash or how much more prices are going to rise. All I'm saying is that just take a look at what's happening in the market. Do you think you can find a good deal? A good deal is to when the house price is at least slightly lower than the market's average, so that you can renovate it. It will rise significantly in value, or you can return it out for the much higher prices, or at least a deal that's not above the market's average. But that's never going to happen when you are in the bidding war against dozens of other buyers. Don't get me wrong, owning a house is far better than paying the rent your entire life, especially if you are going to live in the same area for a long time. Even though home ownerships come at a higher price, it includes renovational and other expenses. However, you also have to consider the opportunity cost. This is the cost that people don't count at all when they are thinking of the purchasing a house. Every penny you use to buy a house is a penny that could be invested elsewhere, like the stocks market, Bitcoin, or anything else, including your own businesses. But let's take something more stable like S&P 500, an index fund that invested into the top 500 US companies. It usually grows by around 10% in the long run, but let's be a bit controversial and take 8% just to be safe. When you take the mortgage, it's 30 years investment. So you are going to become a homeowner, but you have to keep making your monthly mortgage payments. So let's take a look at what if you invest that money instead of the rent. A place, let's take $300,000 house with a 20% down payment and 3% mortgage rate. You are going to pay $1,017 per month. That's significantly cheaper than the renting, since that house would be rented out for all at least $2,000. But if you could property taxes 300 USD, a renovation which is another 1% of the total price of your house, $300, includes which, let's say, another $100, you will end up with $1,700. Not bad. Buying a house still looks like the far better deal. But now let's count the opportunity cost. That $60,000 you paid upfront as the down payment. Let's say you are going to invest in the S&P 500, and as I said earlier, we are going to be considering and take just 8%. With the compounding invest, it will grow to $603,000 or $1,600 a month, which makes your real cost of ownership $3,300. Of course, the price of your house is also going to rise, but if we have learned anything from the 2008 crisis, home prices can also crash, especially since home prices had rise by 17% last year. Only time will tell. How this astronomical rise is going to end. But in order to invest in the stocks market, you have to understand how the stocks market works, and that means you have to spend months to master it. But I have some good news for you. I have spent years investing in the stocks market and to save your time. I have summarized all my experience in the stocks market into the short, straightforward, fully animated courses. And the best part is that it's available on the Skillshare, and you can get it for free if you use the link in the descriptions. At the end of the course, there is the assignment that I personally check it and provide you with the feedback. Anyways, buying a house isn't always a bad decision. In fact, it can be the great decision, especially when you are sitting down on building a family. But right now, when you are getting out of the pandemic, we are not sure if we are going to continue working remotely or we are going to get back to how everything was pre-pandemic. When there is the bidding war in the market, finding a good deal has never been more difficult, especially all the headache you have to go through when buying a house. You might buy the house house now and then realized a year later that it was a mistake and life is getting back to normal. So that house that seems attractive during the pandemic is no longer that attractive, and who knows where the market is going to be at that time. Chances that you lose money on that course is way higher than you make money. And how is your turn to let me know in the comments below. What do you think about buying a house now? Is that a good time for it? Better to wait until things calm down. If you have enjoyed this video, you will also enjoy this custom playlist that we have created specifically for you that has our most popular videos on business, investing and the stocks market that can potentially change your life. And now give this video a thumbs up so that it deserves, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Thanks for watching, and until next time.